Welcome to the Game Changer 00100 show with your host, Game Changer. So, why does it seem as if whores are winning? Okay, so that's really a difficult question to answer in today's time. And the reason for that is because you can't really determine what's winning. Like, the only way we could say if a woman is winning by being a whore is to determine what her life would have been like were she not a whore. You know, we see somebody, a woman who is a whore, she's promiscuous, whatever you want to call it, and we see that she is getting ahead. She has this, this, and this. We don't know what she would have had if she had went the traditional route. So we don't really know if she's winning. But that would be winning if one was playing against herself. Now, is she winning in comparison to other women? No, because then, you like people are saying, they're all winning with this particular lifestyle. So, they're not really competing with themselves or other women. I think when people say that, I think they're saying that women in general are winning and men are losing in this whole relationship game. The truth of the matter is, yes, that is the case because the odds are stacked against the men legally, and because of our natures, men are really made to spread their seed, while women are made to guard their eggs, and the law plays into that. It gives them that advantage and puts men at that disadvantage. Absolutely. Absolutely, they are winning against men. Are they gaining the quality of life that is due them as a result of this quote unquote winning? The answer to that is hell no. Hell no. They're losing in that regard. They're losing compared to the women who actually won, say, 50 to 70 years ago. They're losing relative to that, and I think that that is going to be how this whole house of cards failed. See, they're doing worse than they were doing, but we as men are doing worse than they are doing worse. It's like a race to the bottom that we're winning. They're losing the race to the bottom, so it looks like they're winning the race, but they're not actually going to the top. If y'all can follow that analogy. And if you can't, then put it in the chat room and I'll break that down some more there. Now, here's the problem with this whole, well, before I get into the problem with the whole woman winning scenario, etc., etc., etc. I want to say, because this is the person that brought this up, Brittany Renner, the basketball wife, and, just those type, the Insta thoughts, and etc., 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 etc. Listen, attractive women can't really lose. Now, don't give me this, they could get in a car accident and many of them, hit the wall, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, it's very difficult for an attractive woman to lose. And I mean extremely difficult for them to fail at most anything they attempt to do. If they attempt to become housewives, it's very difficult for an extraordinarily attractive woman to fail in that regard. If she attempts to sell her body directly, it's very difficult for them to lose in that regard. If she chooses to sell it indirectly, like say OnlyFans or something like that, or becoming a stripper or something like that, it's still very difficult for them to lose in that regard. If she wanted to become a secretary or a nurse, or you see where I'm going with this, it's very difficult. Even if she wants to become a politician, it's very difficult for an attractive woman to lose. But then again, if you're at the top, say 0.1% of anything, it's very difficult for you to lose. Meaning that, if you are that 1 in 1,000 chicks, like if a guy had the option to line up 1,000 women and he picks you, then you're just, you already won. You won the genetic lottery and your prize is pretty privilege. So we can't really look to them and say hoes are winning because these just so happen to be attractive women who choose the whole lifestyle and they're going to win in that. There are also attractive women who choose other lifestyles that they win in. You pretty much win in everything you do when you are an attractive woman. So let's not go over that definition of winning. That sample population of winning, because yeah, that's not the case. Now, but that is part of why it seems like hoes are winning, because hoes are, let's just say, loud. They market themselves. That's what they do. So you're going to see more of them than housewives, especially if they're attractive. I said this before. Ever notice how the women on, Basketball Wives, etc., aren't actually wives? They're just more like side pieces or former side pieces and stuff. But the wives are remaining silent while the side pieces are flaunting themselves. That's what hoes do. So from that aspect, you're only really seeing the hoes. Now, as far as the winning and losing aspect of it, and I'm talking about for the plurality, the rank and file of women. Here's the thing. This system that they have created for hoes to win more than they did in the past is predicated on male thirst. The thirstier the sample male population is, or the male population that the hoes draw from is, the more the hoes are going to win. That being said, modern Western society is suffering from a artificially developed thirst. And by thirst, I mean, sexual desire, sexual need, etc., etc., etc. It's no secret that young men, and perhaps even older men, but I don't know if that's affecting older men the same way, because it's been known that you're like a jackrabbit in your 20s, and things just naturally just start to die down later in life anyway. Whether we live in a situation where you get married at 20 and then you eventually just stop sleeping with your wife as much, or you are a long-term bachelor and it dies down that way anyway. Either way, we know that men in general are having less sex. We know that. Now, there's really no natural reason for that. Like, there wasn't a comet that just came and dried up all the women's vaginas or something like that. Like, Thanos didn't snap his finger and 50% of the U.S. population of women disappeared, and for whatever reason made twice as many men. So there isn't an imbalance. There isn't much of an imbalance between the number of women and the number of men. However, the sexual marketplace would suggest otherwise, because there is a tremendous difference in the number of people that are in women's inboxes versus the number of women that are in men inboxes. Now, of course, there's always going to be that imbalance, because, as I mentioned before, men spread their seed, women guard their eggs. However, it's tremendous now. And that's for one reason, and one reason only. And that is because the overwhelming majority, and if I had to give a guess, I would say it's anywhere between 25 and 33%. Or, excuse me, it's anywhere between 75 and 66% of women are not on the market. They're not in the market. They're not in the sexual marketplace. They're not in the standard marketplace. They're not in any marketplace. They're just like, they're either living their best life, focusing on their education, taking a gap year, taking, futilely swirling, have demands that aren't really attainable. Like, if you're a 4 and you're demanding a 10, you're not really on the market. That's kind of like, if a person was to try to sell their old Ford for $100,000. It's not actually on the market. It may be advertised, it may be on the lot, but it's not really on the market. Most women, once again, 66 to 75% of women in the black community fall in that category. They're not actually reasonably open on the market, leaving things really, really, really good for the remaining 25 to 33%. Because all the men want some. So all the men are on the market, meaning that they have a huge advantage when they go out. That's why you see all of these gap relationships where the man is more handsome than the woman is pretty, etc., etc., etc. That's there's an imbalance. The remaining women are taking advantage of the fact that the primary women, or excuse me, that the large majority of women are not on the market. And what's even more sinister is that those women are encouraging the other women to stay off the market. So, yes, the ones who are dealing in the marketplace are benefiting for the neglect of the ones who are not in the marketplace. So, are they winning? Yes. 25 to 33% of them are winning. And they're winning because the 66 to 75% are losing. And that's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on simply and delicately telling the 75 or 66 to 75% that you're being played. I'm not trying to convince the 25 to 33%. No, that's futile. But to tell the remainders, the ones who are, who were convinced to get out the market, to get in the market. You're being played, and the advantages that these women are getting are going to be to your disadvantage. So, with that being said, I'd like to thank you for listening. This is Game Changer 00100. Game over. Peace.